was born in Microsoft, brought up in Cisco, add some value at board level to different corporations. International certifications like MCSE, MCP, and MCT become like weather changes and climate changes so important across these principles like planet, people, prosperity, not profit, profit, profit.
Hi everyone, welcome to the esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by the World Development Corporation, and I am Ismeet, your host for today. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, what we're trying to do is to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings that have been acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. Because by bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are a proven success formula for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such corporate leader and veteran on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Asif Mirza. He's a distinguished business leader with over 2.5 decades of experience in the field of information technology, business development, and organizational restructuring. With a career that spans multiple countries and industries, he has demonstrated his expertise in project management, strategic planning, and cross functional leadership. His decade-long experience has culminated in his entrepreneurship and directorship at TYTY Sciences Private Limited. And in terms of his directorship role, he has also served Hapico Industries Private Limited in the capacity of its executive director. Thank you so much, Mr. Mirza, for joining us today.
Welcome. How are you, Smith?
I am great. How are you doing?
Fine, fine. Looking forward to have a great conversation today with you.
Likewise. So let's just begin with the first thing, which is could you let our viewers know in brief about your career journey actualizing in the form of TYTY Sciences along a timeline, please?
Yeah. Uh, to put it in one sentence, I usually say that I was born in Microsoft, brought up in Cisco, and now serving business community in different corporate roles, especially as an entrepreneur. So that is it in one sentence. So technology has been predominant part in the early stages of the career. I started as a C programmer in technology development of Indian languages. It was a project in Aligarh Muslim University under CDAC Pune. And that today is what has culminated into artificial intelligence, large language models, LLMs. Open AI is an example. So that time we were working on transliteration, not translation, transliteration of one Indian language into another Indian language. So we fed the system with several regional Indian languages, like I was part of Kashmiri team. And then we developed programs in C to tag that corpus of words of around 3 million. So that was the beginning. And then with the international certifications like MCSE, MCP, and MCT, I ventured into networking industry, software development, and then information technology management in terms of large-scale projects as well as operations. So that was in ARABSAT and in Soroof International. And then finally, around 2015, having spent around 16 years abroad, outside India, in Gulf, and did a lot of work over there in technology. My last role was as acting information technology director in ARABSAT. And ARABSAT is world's 8th largest satellite operator. So, in fact, I was the first Asian to reach that level in that particular organization. And then children reached a particular age, and we felt it is better to return to our native place. So I shifted back to India in 2015 March, and I had two main goals. One was social service, that I will dedicate 50% of my time to social service and 50% to entrepreneurship. And then I had different experiences with our three different ventures, which were at different stage of their cycle, like Biotech Limited, Hapico Private Limited, and then TYTY Sciences. So TYTY Sciences was a very fresh initiative, and others were going on previously, 5 years, 10 years. So I joined on ground to make some contribution, add some value. So that is how I see entrepreneurship as. And that's it. Then I still other two organizations, Biotech Limited and Hapico Limited, the reins and affairs are being managed by my other colleagues. And in fact, even in TYTY Sciences, the team is highly trained now to take the journey forward. And I have myself updated with knowledge and with more skills in the current challenges that corporates are facing all over the world, which is in the area of ESG and D, the environmental, social governance, and digital area. Though I feel that I reverse the acronym sometimes. I feel governance should come first, and then social, and then environmental, and then digital. So I prefer to say it as GSED rather, but since industry is using the term ESG and the D. So that's it with equipping myself with latest challenges and opportunities, both that corporates are facing. I'm looking forward to add some value at board level to different corporations and do some further service.
That's very interesting. So you mentioned that you returned in 2015, but how and when did you think of venturing into entrepreneurship? And what niche did you want to fill with TYTY Sciences?
Entrepreneurship was ingrained from the very beginning because of our upbringing in our family. I remember when I first went to Saudi, we were discussing in Bombay with my friends and brothers. If I had 1 lakh rupees, I would not go abroad. So we were inclined more towards entrepreneurship than job. But then it happened when we looked at the existing facts and we did the due diligence, we felt, no, it is better to go abroad. But those genes and germs of entrepreneurship were there. So when whichever company I worked for, I never looked at how much salary I am getting. I never looked for whether it is my own company or shareholders or some other people. I contributed and worked as if it was my own, and worked entrepreneurially. That's how I have set up divisions, new divisions in companies, come up with new product ideas, come up with new product mixes, and strategic contribution at every level, whether I work as a trainer, I work as a systems engineer, or as IT manager, and then later as IT director. But I saw to it that I make a contribution and create some long-term value. So that is how entrepreneurship was there always. And in fact, during job, I also, we all try to do something. So I tried here and there, but later I realized that we have an old saying that you can't put your feet on two boats. Though I have changed it now. I feel now it is possible to have at least two boats. And we sometimes I even feel that we must have at least two boats now, with so many things happening in the virtual world, online, many things available. So at least two things that we can do currently is that you are doing entrepreneurship, but you can also keep learning. You have various online learning options, courses, which you can do. Morning, you get up early, 2 hours, you give on daily basis, will culminate into something very big at the end of 1 year, 3 years, and can take your career and entrepreneurship to another level. So this is what I feel, what was not possible that time. Though my MBA has been, we have done our MBA, myself and my wife, 7 years, and we had 3 kids,
Seven
and we
years.
did,
It took you,
yeah,
as in?
yeah, I will tell you, that is an interesting story. So my children would call it yellow books. So we were in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and our Indira Gandhi Open International University had an initiative for MBA all over the world. So when we came to know about it and we saw the depth of the courseware, it had 19 subjects touching everything in business, and very tough. And but it was flexible in the sense we could choose two papers every 6 months minimum and maximum four. So that is how we did it, and both of us did it. And I specialized in international trade and securities, and my wife specialized in Islamic spook.
Nice, nice.
So that is, it was in the context that there was a stage in the development of the educational industry and entrepreneurship where it was not possible to do two things at a time, and we should not have done three things at a time. But now more options are available.
Yeah.
And in fact, it is recommended that we keep our feet on two boats.
Great to see the drive that you have. I think it's very, very nice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And so, how do you integrate the Eastern and Western management principles? And
Yes, this, to be honest, we were not earlier. It is the internet that brought the democratization of the information. Now we have at the tip of our fingers the Elon Musk's approach to entrepreneurship, to management, or this Bezos's approach of Amazon. And we have several other management styles and approaches in front of us now. And a lot of academic research, industry research has happened, both in East and West. But it was not available so readily in 1990s. So that is where I had this in my mind. No, our Eastern values and principles of management, some of them, especially related to spirituality, were raining on my head. That, and I was, whatever we had read and were aware of Western management style and principles, they were not so predominant at that time in that methodology. Now there are many things happening worldwide. I remember in Riyadh there was one conference, and I asked for spiritual project management. That how do we base project management? Because I was vice president of PMI USA GCC chapter for around a year. So I had raised this question in the board that we should have spiritual basis for whatever we do. So since I was in project management that time, so I raised about project management. So that is what I was feeling at that time is missing in Western approach to the management. And today I feel the whole humanity has progressed on that front. It may be less, it may not be so evident, but without spiritual development of a person, mental development of a person, especially entrepreneur, it is very difficult to deliver.
Correct. I think it helps you stay centered and focus more on the goals and the objectives that you want to achieve. So it's very important.
Yes, 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 yes.
And what piqued your interest in ESG and corporate governance? How did that come about?
See, again, though I have seen there are certain overlaps when we talk of ESG. Let us leave digital for this side for the time. There are certain overlaps and there are certain confusions. There are many things in it. But there are many things which are clear also at the same time and are getting more and more clear as the academic research happens, industry research happens, and we get things more and more into practice and we improve upon this. In fact, recently in one of my articles, I have suggested a totally new definition for the governance. As I mentioned, these principles and these values have been ingrained from the early childhood and early youth due to our environment. Like, for example, the principle of accountability and transparency. If you tell me in nutshell, the two words that for me describe governance is timely disclosures for all stakeholders. Now, I emphasize the both words, the disclosures as well as timely. Because if you delay the disclosure, it is like denying the disclosure, then it doesn't help. So it has to be timely disclosures. And if you see, when we look at the management literature, we may find like a RACI matrix. There is mention of accountability, but there is no mention of the word disclosure in the management literature as disclosure. So what has happened that governance has brought in front with more prominence and with more emphasis the disclosure part of the management. Now there are again levels. So what I wanted to say is that what has come into international emphasis now, its seeds were already there in us. We are very careful about environment. I remember I came to know before 5 years that my brother has cut one of the trees in the lawn. In Kashmir, we have our own lawn, and our children go in the morning. They cut the apple from the tree. They cut it and they eat it. So we have apple trees in our own lawn. So I came to know he cut one apple tree, and he had intention that it has got some disease, so nobody is taking care of it. He went and he cut it. So we felt so bad. Everybody felt so bad that we should not cut tree. Yeah. We should have seen to it, and that was so. That was like environment, and then social. We always were of the opinion that as we should have inclusivity, we should have diversity in our companies. And even the people who worked at home or who worked in office. And we should respect the basic human rights. That is what is the essence of social today. It's not social media. Social media will fall in digital, but it is the care and concern and the development of people around us, of the environment around us. So now when it has become like weather changes and climate change is so important, and nobody has now, looking for scientific research in this. It is so evident. The temperatures we have all over the world, Dubai is getting floods and Bombay is having scorching heat. Yeah. So nobody is questioning now. Now the point is, how do we handle it? How do we handle all this wealth inequality? We have 1% or 4% sitting at the top, and we have 90% down at the pyramid. So on this side, this is the condition of social, and then we have the condition of the environment, and we have the condition of the governance. I mean, scams are not stopping. Every day I look at the media, I find one or the other scam. Yeah. So in spite of so much litigation, so many standards, regulations, still scams are happening. And more that even digital technology is increasing on one side, and on the other side, we have equally scams increasing, and their sophistication and complexity of those scams is also increasing. So because of having this background and having now with the support and of Directors Institute, World Council of Directors, I have equipped myself with every nook and corner of this, from conceptual level to implementation level in ESG and D, and having this kind of background already in digital technologies and entrepreneurship, which is towards social. I mean, we had a word before. I was in Canada. They were focusing more on social entrepreneurship. So we had these words, environmental entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship. But and we were working. Our entrepreneurship was for this. It was not only for money. So when I came across these principles like planet, people, prosperity, not profit, 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 so it intrigued me. I felt very interested, and I said, I felt that I can contribute here. I can make a difference. I can do some service. It is already. It needs to be groomed more. It needs to be developed more. It needs to be channelized more, and it needs to be delivered. So that is how ESG and D has, interested me, and I am the Directors Institute, and we are working together to do something.
And as an ESG and a corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table? I do understand that it's all enriched in your upbringing itself, and it's so nice to hear that and know that. But outside of that, what values do you think you bring to the table?
Simplicity and clarity. As I mentioned, that I have recently, after going through all the, I will not say all, majority of the critical historical developments in the ESG field in the last 5-10 years that I have gone through, I realized that more simplicity and more clarity is required before it becomes mainstream. And to make it mainstream, if it is not, see, people are the boards are confused. What is the difference between management, compliance, and governance? And governance itself, the word, like we use management word with many things. For example, we use word management with family management. We use word management with corporate management, with project management, operations management. So management has got associated with many things that we do in corporates or in community life or personal life. Similarly, governance is taking the same shape. Even the recent OECD paper on a new version of the corporate governance. Within the corporate governance, they have used the word risk governance. Now, see, when you are defining corporate governance, and within that you use the word governance again for some subset of the whole body, again it creates a confusion.
Yeah.
So and OECD is a prestigious organization, so many people working. But as the point is, it's not criticism to OECD. It is that the whole field is getting developed. It is getting streamlined, and all of us have to do our bit, both in making the this field and this growing sphere of corporate governance in terms of clarity, simplicity, as well as practice. We cannot make it more simple and make it more clear without practicing it more and more. Because more we practice, it will be that feedback loop will happen, and we all together, whether we are sitting in boardrooms or whether we are sitting in ground rooms where actual work is happening, it will contribute to. So that is where, see, for example, I go myself for sales promotion. I am very close to customer. I consider it very important to have customer intimacy, even if I am a director. So even if I am in the boardroom, that's my main job. But I can't, sit at the top and understand everything. So especially the customer, the supply chain, in the virtual world, the online world, in the offline world. So we have to be in touch on the interfaces with other stakeholders. So I take feedback from ground, and with that, I am able to understand on one side the conceptual knowledge, the skills, the talent, and on the other side the interactions with customers, suppliers, partners. It helps to get things from there practically and to pass it on to the conceptual world. Look, gentlemen, I think we need to improve things here. Not only within your own companies or the group that you are working for, but even to the general contribution to the general community of corporate governance. So that's what I feel. Simplicity, as I mentioned, I have recently given a new definition, which is two-sentence definition. And I have explained each word in a tabular format, what I mean by timely, what I mean by positive impact, what I mean by disclosure. So this kind of contribution, I think, what I can bring to the table when you mentioned about adding further value to the corporate governance.
I think it's a great skill. It's a skill which not a lot of people have, and especially in today's world where there's information overload. To,
Correct.
you
But,
know,
right. We need to reduce it to the we should have the best way is to have, I say, 3-3-3. So we have to minimize this thing in the world of this information overload. You rightly pointed, and it's not only now coming from text. It is coming from videos. It is coming from audios. It is coming all over. And uh, we are around 7-8 billion people in the world, and I was surprised. We have 7-8 billion sensors, digital sensors implemented all over the world, and they are gathering information around the clock.
yeah.
That's why we have these concepts like big data and blockchain and other things. So the information that is getting generated every day, now your car is also gathering information about the environment,
Everything that we have.
everything.
Yeah.
So, but we have to understand how human mind works, how improvement works, what should be, how we should concentrate on, generation and creation of long-term value for human beings altogether, for societies, for corporates. So that is where we need to minimize. We cannot focus on more than 7 things at a time. That's why we used to have this. I can have 7 reportees maximum. I feel no, three is much better. So it should be 2-3 words, 2-3 principles that embraces the essence of any field, which is always in focus. And for example, conflict of interest. Now, I'm sure if this one principle, we stick to it, and whatever we do in operations, in projects, in board, and we have eye on this, is there any potential conflict of interest? Is there any conflict of interest? How do we avoid it? Is it an opportunity for the corporation?
Yeah.
How should we handle it? So principles like this, or what you wish for yourself, wish same for the other person. I have seen, I don't usually quote companies, but there is one company I came across that it is one of their principles. And you will be surprised that company is Hawkins Cooker.
Oh.
Hawkins has this, some of these companies and boards and people, they are amazing. Sometimes you feel what comes out of the boardroom is sometimes so spiritually elevated. You feel, is it coming from boardroom or is it coming from some religious guru? So, they are wonderful, simple principles. They have 6-7 principles with which they are leading the organization, and the company is 80% of the income is given as dividend.
Oh.
So some of these companies and boards are really amazing, and everywhere in every country and every region, you take ASEAN, you take MENA, you take Africa, you take Indian subcontinent, ASEAN, we have examples of these individuals and these boards, and they have gone through various cycles of business and economic cycles. Uh, and they have led their organizations and they are handling this ESG and D very nice, very nice.
And you mentioned technology and big data. So, what are some of the changes in your field or the corporate world that you expect to see with the advent of such technologies, IoT, AI, blockchain, digital twin, Web 3.0? What are the changes? Of course, one you discussed that every data, everything is being gathered now. Everything that we're doing is being recorded now and used in some way or form. Anything else that you would like to add to that?
One, we have to understand, this is a very key point, that the changes that happened from the inception of internet. I remember when I was in India in 1990s, we were first using dial-up modem to dial into ISP, and then it was all text. Then we went to web, and then we went to various versions of web and internet of. Then we have blockchain, and we have internet of not information, internet of values. So one thing we have to understand that many changes in all other fields have led by changes in the information technology. This is a fact. We have to accept. Information technology has not only brought technological change, it has brought mindset changes. Because we have something in information technology, what we call, logic. The program, what is the logic of your program? How does it work? Now that logic, when it has been brought very clearly by the words like due diligence, business analysis, case studies, business case. So it came predominantly from information technology world, and it is a contribution of information technology world to the rest of the businesses. But at the same time, now the changes are not confined to information technology.
Yeah.
Changes in the technology are multilateral. So what we are witnessing today, and perhaps it is happening after a long time, we have another word, what we call disruption. It is not unilateral disruption. It is not disruption of any one field of information technology or information technology. We are witnessing disruption all around. Usually I say that life and corporates and economy, it works in cycles. We have 3-year cycles, we have 7-year cycles, we have decadal cycles, we have 30-year cycles, we have centuries cycles. So we are talking of minimum 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, and 100 years. Now something is happening that all these cycles are converging in last 5-10 years. In fact, last 5 years predominantly, it seems that all these cycles of 100 years getting played out, and 30 years and 5 years, and it is from climate, it is from weather, it is from environment, it is from society, it is from governance, it is from everywhere. These cycles are converging. So it is not one disruption. The boards today, the families today, the countries today are witnessing convergence of these disruptive cycles.
Yeah.
And it is a very, very big challenge for all of us at various levels. So that is why we have to come up, the normal innovation or creativity will not handle this. The word I use is transformation. It is transformation in governance. It is transformation in management. It is transformation in digital. So it is, before all that, it is self-transformation. Each individual sitting in the board has to transform himself or herself if they want to handle this multilateral disruption. So we have to harness, we have to, in fact, benefit from this multilateral disruption through our multilateral transformation, not only in terms of technology and governance that or society or environment. No, any one area will not help. to get all the opportunities and benefit from this multilateral disruption. It has to be multilateral transformation from our side to benefit, to turn it positive. Otherwise, the dark side of this disruption, if that takes over, it will be disastrous for the mankind and for the humanity. So we all have to pool in efforts, and not one individual, not one company, not one country or government or one body, OECD, UN alone, and World Economic Forum alone, or any other organization alone cannot do it.
Absolutely.
It has to be collaboration, partnerships at various levels. So where I feel I can contribute is that at the corporate level, at the board level, we all transform ourselves into it is transformation. That means when we use words like new learning, unlearning, creativity, innovation. So it is like whatever you have learned in usually it was last we used to study in college or university graduation 10, 20, 50, 25 years. After that, till the end of your retirement, you don't need to learn anything new. You don't need to go to college anymore or study anything new. That is obsolete.
Yeah.
We have to reinvent and relearn ourselves every 3 years max. Otherwise, we are out. So the cycles have reduced. So we have to equip ourselves accordingly. And that is where I feel, it is not only technology, it is not only unilateral, to sum it up, unilateral one field disruption. It is a multilateral disruption. Yeah. And boards have to fight it out with multilateral transformation, starting from self-transformation.
Correct. So we are building a community of industry magnets, and the move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. What are your thoughts here about this initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
As an initiative, it is wonderful. It is timely. It is the need of an. So, highly appreciated, welcomed as a wonderful initiative that will contribute to the development of corporates, boards, and society in general. Obviously, there is always room for improvement. Having vision and having mission, and then translating into projects and operations at different levels. It's a big challenge. It's not easy, and we all are. I'm sure Mr. Heval and Mr. Pathan, both they would be facing challenges practically on ground. It's not easy because we are 50% of it is uncharted territory. Which we have to chart and discover and develop while we, move on. So, as an initiative, wonderful. If you ask me, is there room for improvement? Yes. Do we know what we have to do? I am sure Mr. Mehta, Mr. Pathan would be knowing what is to be, and I see several projects are being launched to address different facets of this. Initiative, and I'm happy and pleased with that. And I have noted certain things that I'm trying to share as an observer from time to time with them as feedback, and I'm sure that's taken into account.
I'm sure that'll help, and I think that's what the journey of life is also about: is constant improvement, understanding what works, what doesn't work, and taking it forward from there. Any last words you have before we wrap this up?
Yeah, one or two things that are at the top of my mind. One is for entrepreneurs, irrespective whether they are around 20 years age or they are 30 years age, even 50, 60 years age, doesn't matter. Age is not a big factor. So whosoever is entrepreneurial venture is preferable for learning as well as for earning when you compare it to job. And don't think if Elon Musk has discovered that we can run vehicles on non-fossil fuel, and that is the end of the world. No more discoveries, no more inventions. I remember when we had this, Hotmail. We were thinking, oh, finished, khalas. Now there can't be more opportunities.
Yeah.
After Hotmail, when Yahoo came, then we said, oh my God, that's end of it.
Absolutely.
Then in front of us, Google came. And then in front of us, so many things happened.
Possibilities are endless.
Endless, yeah. So don't get discouraged and look for generating. If I have to use a word, I would use problem-solving entrepreneurship. See to it that you take at least one problem of the family, one problem of the community, one problem of the mankind, where you can contribute to solve that problem. That is what would be your contribution to your family, to your community, and to the mankind in general.
Absolutely.
So problem-solving entrepreneurship at all levels. That is my message to the entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Asif. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I am so confident that all your insights will inspire all our future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
It was so nice talking to you, Ismi. God bless you.
Really nice talking to you, and all the best to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.